Hi, Amber.
Hello, how are
Hi,
you?
Amber.
We
Hi.
are good. Thank you so much for coming on. We're doing this thing where we're reaching out to previous housewives just to hear about their experience. And
hmm
we're huge on Jersey. So we were like, let's reach out to Amber and let's get her on to hear about how her experience was. But before we get into questions and everything, we just wanted to get into basics and all that good stuff. But how's your family? How is your health?
my kids are amazing. They're 15 and 16 now. They're going into their sophomore year. Corbin is just killing it. He's going into two magnet programs, law and cybersecurity. He's, honors everything, and he made only two freshmen made varsity golf, so he's a golfer. Isabella's killing it too. She skipped a grade because I homeschooled them for 2 years, so she wanted to move up, and I did. She did it. She busted her butt and homeschooling. You have a lot of flexibility, and you get it. You'll be surprised how much you get done in such a small time. And she's honor roll, and she's still riding. She's an equestrian, and she's a jumper, and she's doing great. She's amazing. My kids, I have to tell you, I'm very, very blessed in the sense of they're just grounded, good kids. They stay out of the shenanigans in the world, and they really focus in on what's right and what's good and bettering themselves. My health is good. I don't want to knock on wood, thank God.
Yeah.
That was now 7 years ago where I had my relapse.
Right.
And I still go to my doctors. I still go to my oncologist. I get my blood work up religiously every 6 months, sometimes 3, depending. I still have anxiety. In fact, I just had something over the couple weeks where my throat was hurting, and I was convinced I had throat cancer or something. It's horrible. It really is. It's post-traumatic stress syndrome at its definition. It's just you can't just get a headache. You think the worst. So that's always in the back of my mind. And also I feel like a lot of people around me are getting cancer. I mean, it's my age. This is life, and it's kind of scary. It really is. But I just keep focusing on my family. Jim's doing great. Work is tough. He's in the mortgage banking industry, so I know you can see the melee that's going out on there. So he's working. He is such a hard worker, and I just don't even understand how he just keeps going and going and going. No matter what is the pace in front of him, that guy just keeps on going, and it amazes me. In fact, this weekend we're going to Lake George.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, for my birthday. My birthday's on Sunday. And so I was like, you're going to take a freaking break. That's it.
Yes.
You can't rev your engine full time. Full time and not stop.
Right.
So I'm forcing him, and little good, enjoyment for me too.
Good, you need to sometimes, especially with their jobs.
Yeah.
Yes.
We're so happy to hear about your health.
So,
thank God, like you said. So we asked our listeners. So what we do is we ask our listeners a bunch of questions, and then they give us a bunch. We ask you. We just did one with Siggy. We've done a couple of her. She's had a lot of great things to say. But I want to, like I said, I want to get to the basics first. How did you even get on the Real Housewives of New Jersey? Like, did you watch the show prior? What made you go on?
Yeah, so no, I did not. I did talk to Melissa before she went on, and she asked me if she should do it. And I remember telling her no. So I knew she obviously ended up doing it anyway, but I knew about the show, but at the time it wasn't really a popular show. Plus, you have to understand, I was going through chemotherapy and I was going through my own health, so I wasn't really paying attention to that show. Years later, this is 2014, after going through cancer and everything like that, I was like, I've always been in the academic world, and that was my focus in my 20s. And then I had my kids. I said, I want to just do something fun. Like, I just want to concentrate and just do something out of my element. So I started acting. So I started taking acting lessons for like a year or two. And I started applying to different jobs online, to like, different casting jobs, like backstage and stuff like that. And I got like little jobs here and there, commercials, little, side things, nothing crazy, not like hitting it big or anything, but, it takes years and a lot of dedication. So, but this one came across my desk, and it was like reality show. And mind you, I'd actually like applied for a couple other reality shows, but they never took off. And this one, I had no idea. There was no title. It just said young, hot, wealthy, or whatever. It said, extravagant women, here, come here. So I was like, all right. So I applied, and I got a phone call, and we didn't know until contracts came. It was like I had no idea what the show was, and the contracts came and still didn't have a name on it. I was like, I need to know what I'm doing. I'm not going to sign on anything until I know what I'm getting myself into. I'm not going to do Jersey Shore, And so they finally told me, they're like, all right, it's Housewives. I'm like, oh my God, that's so weird. I know Melissa. And they're like, oh, wait a minute, you do? And they're like, hold on, and then, it was just like, it was a whirlwind after that. So I had already signed, it was done, so it just was good that I knew Melissa as well.
Wow, that's so interesting, because I thought that she's the one that brought you on the show. I had no idea that it was the way that you just described.
Yeah, no, she had nothing to do. Oh my God, Melissa brings someone on the show. Okay.
I can't
on her turf. Come on.
Wow. So yeah, because looking back, that's what I thought. I feel like they kind of introduced you as a friend of Melissa.
They definitely characterized it as that, and I mean, it just made sense, because when you're writing a semi script, you have to make it make sense. That's how they made sense of me coming back into Melissa's life.
Right. What was the depth of your relationship with Melissa prior to joining the show?
So Melissa and I knew each other after high school. So I was still, let me think about this. This is so long ago now. It was after college. It was probably like no. So it was during college. We were hanging out, and like there was a group of people that we used to go clubbing with, like Jersey Shore clubs, all over New Jersey. We used to just go around, and we were all part of the same group. We went down to the music conference in Florida together. It was clubbing. That's what I would say, was clubbing. And then I moved with my boyfriend in Union City, and then I broke up with him, and she was living in Bayonne, and I moved into Bayonne to be closer to her, so we could kind of, that was the only one I knew up there. And that was for like a year, and then we kind of she got married. I was at her wedding. And then, we kind of lost touch. She started having children and going the family route. And I was still, at the time, I was getting my master's, and, it was in the city. So we kind of lost touch for a little bit.
When you found out you were getting cast on the show, did you call Melissa and say, Melissa, by the way, I'm going to be on the show that you're on? Or was it like a surprise for her?
So I wanted to. I was so excited. I was like, oh my God, we're gonna eat this show up. This is gonna be so much fun, right? Yeah. Casting put a kibosh in that. So to production, they said, you're not allowed to call her, talk to her. I'm like, really? Wow. I'm like, that really sucks. I'm like, why wouldn't I, just call her? She's my friend. And they're like, no, we control this. So.
Wow. What do you think their motive was about that?
Well, they want the opportunity to create conflict if they need to. So it was dependent, like, are we going to be friends or are we not going to be friends? And they would decide.
And then how about the twins? Prior to joining the show, what was your guys' relationship like?
Zero, really. Now that's an interesting story. I knew Melissa far more than I knew the twins. They were like, hey, do you know, because they were trying to get more people down here, because now hiring me brought production an hour and a half away from where they normally are. Oh. So in order to make it economical, they were like, okay, well, we might as well have two production teams, one from up north and one from down here. Otherwise, they'd have to go back and forth. Oh, and that'd be a lot of different scheduling. So they're like, do you have any friends? And I kept on giving them friends. A lot of my friends didn't want to do it. They're like, oh, hell no. I totally get it, and I found it was through Bobby that he was like, all right, I met these girls. I think they're going to be good. And that was it. Bobby was like more excited about being on Housewives than I was.
Oh my gosh, I'm dying. I remember you guys telling Bobby that I think it was at the reunion that he really wanted to be on the show. But wasn't he dating? He was dating one of them.
Yeah, Nicole. He was dating, but Bobby really wasn't dating. Bobby dated himself. He was not really like into anybody. He was, you know, he's young. He's very wealthy. You know, he's not really into one person. So
where is Bobby now? What is he doing? Did they break up after? Do you know?
Oh, yes, almost immediately. I think they were together for a couple more months and then that's it. And I don't know where Bobby is now. We have not spoken to him. Jim would not even look in his direction if there was a burning building. Like it just would never happen. Jim was betrayed and hurt significantly from his friends. And he wouldn't, you heard Jim once. He's just the true Sicilian. You're dead.
Wow. Yeah. So after the reunion, you didn't talk to Bobby?
No.
You didn't even like text or like there's nothing?
I tried during the season to reach out and be like, what are you doing? You know, like, why are you taking this approach? This is really silly. You're ruining our friendship. And for what? For a little, this show is going to end. Our friendship should be lasting forever. Right. Yeah. And Bobby was truly a part of our family. Like we went, you know, my kids called him Uncle Bobby, you know, like, it was like really, really shocking that he took that approach. And you know what it was? We were not the popular ones on the crowd. We were the attacked ones on the crowd. I mean, we were definitely, they had their guns out for us. Not only the cast, did they decide that they were going to have their guns out for me, but also too, you know, production goes with it. And then obviously NBC. Can you hold on real quick?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I have a little doggy trying to get in.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
So does production was behind you and Bobby? Like, do you think they were hyping Bobby and you guys up to start a war or something?
Of course. Yeah. Of course. I mean, they, you know, they start and they flame. Okay. So, you know, they're the overseer and they hear people, you know, the mic's always on. So if someone says something, they go with it and then they'll inflame it. And then they'll create these scenarios that heighten it to a certain way. Okay. So if they hear me saying, oh, Bobby's so annoying, boom, you know, or Bobby had an affair, boom, they'll go with that. And then all of a sudden they're telling Bobby, you know, this one's saying this and that, and you should do this and confront this person to ask those questions. Yeah. So does that make sense? It's insidious. It really is like how they do things. It's not a natural process, and it's the show is there to create confusion, chaos, and conflict. You know, that's what the show is there to do. They're not there for conflict resolution, that's for sure. And I mean, obviously, these ladies, they make themselves look like a fool every season they have no conflict resolution. You know, like you're 45 years old still screaming like that at each other. There's something wrong. You need to go get help. You know, you should be at peace at this point, be able to talk. So you could definitely tell that there's nothing real about it, right?
Yeah.
Do you or your husband regret going on?
That's a very good question. I feel like I'm a different person, and in some ways it's good, some ways it's bad. I feel like good that I am definitely stronger for it, and it's opened up a lot of good relationships where I can, you know, I see the good, in people, but on the converse side, I've seen some ugliness that I don't wish on anybody. This show and some of these people that watch it, I've never seen so much ugly. And it's a certain type of person that really is, no offense, and I'm not saying this is for everybody, and this is not you guys. I know you love the show and you watch it, but there is a certain viewer that gets a little, they're too unhealthy with it, right? And they can't separate separate reality to, you know, their worlds. And it's ugly. It's very production was ugly. The cast was ugly. Oh my gosh, what they would do, and as far as they will go to make sure that their season after season is just unconscionable. And obviously NBC, in my opinion, it's like an embarrassment ritual. You know, like they look ridiculous every year. They're embarrassing themselves every season. You know, just because they have beautiful, you know, there's you know, dress outfits on, their jewelry, and they're claiming they're wealthy and they have this money and this money. The way they behave and the way they treat one another is despicable. And all of them are in it, and all of them promote it, and they want it, and this is what people are watching, and they emulate it sometimes, and it's just disgusting to me. So that's the bad of it, and that's where I am really sad. I'm almost jaded now with people, because I've seen so much ugliness.
Oh, go ahead.
Have you heard about the Bravo lawsuit that just came about?
No. You know, that's one thing I regret. I should have went forward with the lawsuit, and Jim, I told Jim not to do it. And Jim was like, "You're being stupid. We should absolutely do it." I was physically attacked, and the circumstance around that whole thing, how they did it, they forced me down there. They took away my keys. They would not let me leave. I was physically attacked. I should have sued.
Because there's a group of housewives, we don't know who just yet, are coming after NBC, are coming after Bravo because of the way production and then the way they are treated. We don't know all the exact details. Roxanne knows a little bit more, but
I mean, just a hostile work environment and some sexual things. And I think it's basically, you know, the production companies that people work with, but it's falling under Bravo and NBC just because they obviously like host it and whatnot. So
Bravo, and don't give them a pass. They're briefed on everything. Don't give them a pass. They're just as culpable as they are production. Production's honestly under them.
So what do you mean when you say they took your keys? Like what?
They physically took my keys and would not allow us to leave.
Okay.
And they knew, Theodore, stop it. Sorry. He'll just keep on going. And they knew I was going to be physically attacked because we had one security guard that was friends with us whisper in my ear, go, you're just be careful when you get down there. I got your back.
Right. So
like they knew it. And I had to go down there. It's like, we're here for a party. We have to do this scene, you know, and that's the naivety of what I was of me too. I should have been like, no, I'm not going down there.
Right.
That's absolutely ridiculous.
Then you also feel like, this is my job. If they're asking me to do it, I guess I have to do it. But you also don't want to be put in a hostile environment just because it is your job.
100%.
And it's your first season, and you don't know everything.
Exactly. It was first season. I had no clue what I was getting myself in. The whole thing was awkward. I'm sitting there going, Melissa said a comment on one of the books that, I don't know, we did. She was asking me if this was right, if we're doing this right. She was actually, you know, a lot of lies, manipulation come out of that woman's mouth. This one was actually true. I actually sat there going, is this right? Is this what we're supposed to be doing? Like, just yelling at each other, like getting mad and, you know, and I don't know, creating trouble and creating this madness. It was absolute madness.
What is your relationship with Melissa like now?
Non-existent. I would not talk to her. I would not talk to her.
How did that happen? Did she stop talking to you as soon as you got off the show?
I stopped talking to her long before that.
Oh, really?
I want nothing. I want nothing to do with any of those people. Teresa, all of them. To me, they're insane. They're insane. And they have this is many, many years, 10 years of this insanity. They're gone. Those are not real people anymore. They don't even know themselves. All they are is just season after season of production of what I'm going to conjure up to make ratings and people watch me still. It's not. It feeds narcissism. It feeds. You know, it's just. I
do believe that, but I also think, and you know, I'm probably going to say this, that Teresa is the most authentic housewife. Like, she really doesn't. she really isn't like thinking about what am I going to do next? Like she just acts like herself. Whereas we've seen throughout the years, like a Melissa kind of try to change the narrative of things or manipulate things in people's head so that they can think a certain way. And Teresa's not thinking like that. So she doesn't do it back. But I do feel like Teresa is very authentic. However, I do feel like, yeah, production is definitely like in their ear a lot of the times.
So in that sense, I do agree with you. So Melissa is disingenuous in her approach for sure. And it shows, right? I think people see it. She's not authentic. And like you said, and it's almost, I don't know. Melissa's to me, she's very insecure and she's trying to be something she's not at all times. Right. 100%. I do believe Teresa is what you get she is what you get, right? I do believe that, but don't say that she's so authentic. She works with production behind the scenes, and I have tons of story and proof on that one. She works with, oh God, yeah. She works with them behind the scenes and she creates trouble. Does she manipulate her own life to create a story? No, I don't think so. Her life is enough, right? She's got enough juice. She doesn't need to, but no, she works behind the scenes for sure.
Were you asked to come back? How did that end?
No, we threatened to sue because I was physically attacked, and then they were making me go down to Florida, and I wasn't going to go and then the season finale wasn't going to go to season finale, and Jim he wrote actually to NBC and said, if you do not have security, watching my wife and taking care of her, we're going to have a problem. And it got ugly and they went to mediation and we just said, we're not coming back. They never offered back. And that was that.
Did production tell one of the twins to start a fight with you?
I wouldn't know something like that. I don't know. No, I don't. I would think that maybe the production told them that I said that she was having an affair and she broke up a family and then riled them up. I don't know. But I think the twins are also, they're loopy too. So they were looking for attention. They were looking to be dramatic, right? So I would say it was both, it was a combination,
You think they were surprised they didn't get asked back?
I think they were embarrassed after that whole thing with their mother. I don't know if they would ever go back. That was pretty embarrassing. I know I wouldn't go back. That's like, ew.
I feel like they would go back. I feel like they really enjoyed it. They really wanted to be on the show. And I feel like they would go back, but I haven't heard from them or we haven't talked to them. So I don't know for sure, but I just feel like they really enjoyed being on the show.
They like the attention more.
I agree with you. They did a podcast, I know, afterwards that didn't do anything, but yeah, you might be right. You have it. Yeah, I would say you're probably right. They would do it again, even with that embarrassing thing. They do live low key right now, though. I mean, I see them in church, and they'll say hi.
That's so crazy that you run into them still.
I do.
Church has them. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. I mean, they're definitely low key. I don't even see them on social media,
That's what I'm saying. I don't even know. I mean, I've never actually looked recently, in the last couple of years, but I haven't really seen them on social media, nothing. Is one of the twins still with Reno? Do you know?
Yes. Oh. I know that for a fact because Jim just recently saw them together. I don't see Reno at church, but I know they are together, and Reno is part owner of a cigar shop and in town. So I'm pretty sure they are definitely.
Okay. So I want to go back a little bit. A lot of people ask this question. What is the truth about the Facebook messages between you and Melissa regarding your cancer?
Yeah. So God, this is so many years ago. I messaged her and let her know. Oh God, I don't remember. She just did. Go ahead.
It was from what I remember, it was she acted like she didn't know you had cancer.
On Facebook? Yeah. On a Facebook message?
And then there was something about a Facebook message.
Yeah. Okay. I do kind of remember that. So she pretended not to. No, and God, honestly, I don't remember. We're talking like freaking
Yeah.
20 years ago. No, it wasn't 20 years ago. When did I have cancer? Oh no, shit. It was when I was 31. So yeah, it's freaking a long time. I'm 46 now.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Okay.
What I do remember, though, that everyone knew that I had cancer. Everyone reached out. It was very shocking to everyone. Everyone was there except her. I didn't hear from her. She never said anything. And that was that. But again, to be honest with you, I don't really care. I think it was just one of those things where production was like, doesn't that really aggravate you? You should say something to her at the party. I mean, she's acting like everything's fine and she didn't even mention you have cancer. Honestly, I didn't care. We weren't like that. It was like, whatever. She could call or, she doesn't have to say something. I feel like
Melissa acted very supportive on the show of you when you came on, because I feel like she was also kind of scared that you could possibly say something about her that she wouldn't want out there. Was she supportive like behind the scenes when you guys weren't filming?
No, she told me that if I fuck with her, she's going to ruin me.
Oh, wow.
She said it was her show. She goes, "This is my show." And, you're lucky. You saw what happened to Jan. I got her booted. I'll get you booted.
Isn't that interesting that she would say that to you? Like, oh, it's my show. But
it's my show.
On Teresa's show, and Teresa acted like that. She had such a problem like that. Like, oh, you wouldn't want us to be successful too? You wouldn't want this to open opportunity and doors for us? And then she says that to you, and you're actually like a friend.
Yeah. And I said to her too, I remember going, and Jim said it to Joe, like, let's have a different approach. Let's just have some fun. Let's just have redefine what this is. We don't have to be at odds. But no, let me tell you, they did not take it lightly that I was there. They did not like it. I was on her turf, their turf, and they were not going to have it. They were going to do everything in the power to make me look stupid, to embarrass my family, even just little snide comments that she'd make. And, about my family, as if she knew my family. She didn't know my family.
Right.
And, she just was very, very upset that I was there. And I have to remember, I think she knows how to play in the sandbox now a little bit better because there's such a turnover now. But back then we were the first recasting, right?
Right.
We were the first.
So true.
So it was like, whoa.
Yeah. And it's,
this is mine, And by the way, that's a whole nother story. One of these days I will talk about it. I do know the story of how she really got on.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
You need to tell us now.
Yeah.
Not a chance. One day I'm going to write a book or something.
Dying. Yeah, because you said that she asked you, should I go on? So you were kind of around.
Yes.
She asked. So I'm super curious about that. All right, girl, if you want to write a book about it,
we'll buy it.
I might as well make some money off of this stupid stuff because it cost me more money than I made.
I was going to ask, so we asked Siggy the same question. So how much did they pay you your first season or on your season?
60,000.
Yeah, okay, that's what she said too.
Yeah, 60,000. And by time we had to do our own makeup. We had to have change of outfits, sometimes 3 different outfits in a day because we had different scenes. Everything. Our parties that we had to pay for parties, right down to the freaking salt on the driveway, everything. So by time it was all said and done, I probably net zero. I was in the negative.
A lot of people though then say, because Siggy said the same thing. She's like, I didn't even really make money with makeup. And then people were like, well, then you don't have to get your makeup done. You don't have to, right? You don't have to do your makeup. You don't have to wear these outfits.
Yeah, you do. You have to.
But I'm kind of but you would if you're on a show, it's your job and you're seeing everyone else do it.
Of course. And by the way, if you saw me what I look like at home, what I really look like, I'm in sweatpants and a t-shirt all the time. I'm not doing a show like that where it's it literally asked. First of all, we didn't have a choice because production said, you're doing this interview, you have to wear something fancy. You have to, right? Or we're doing this, you need to wear something like this. So I knew you don't have a choice in the matter. I mean, yes, could you do your own makeup? Yeah, but You want a chance. You're competing with other girls who are plastic surgeryed up and have all the makeup in the world. I mean, like, stop.
That's exactly why we always say we would be like horrible on reality TV, because we would be so scared about having to like keep up with like the appearance.
100%.
It's a lot.
Plastic surgery. Like, we don't do that stuff. I mean, we're 31, but like still, like, I feel like even in their 30s, they're all doing it. So yeah, I could never, ever keep up or do any of that stuff. So it's so interesting when people do say you don't have to do those things, but
who doesn't on that show? I'm telling you, that show, it just breathes narcissism, and you just are trying to compete. And I hated that. Like, it took me 2 years to just wash away that negativity and that type of thinking and be good with me and happy with me and strong with me again, and not feel like I'm competing. If I don't want to do Botox, I don't have to do Botox. I don't do Botox anymore. I don't. And I'm very happy about that. You know, I don't do plastic surgery. And I'm okay with my wrinkles and my freaking crepey neck. I don't give a shit anymore. Like, I'm happy, because that's not happiness in my world.
Yeah.
My happiness right now is I wake up and I just try to be closer and closer to God. And, you know, my spirituality and my children and my family, I place them first, and God, and that's where I stay. And that's my happy place. Nothing about, like, to live in that world again makes me cringe with the thought of it.
Absolutely. Well, you brought up Jan. Okay. So can we just quickly touch on Jan? Did you know her? Were you friends with her?
Again, she was part of our group. She dated someone that I was really good friends with, Joey. So I didn't know her, but I would not say I was close friends with her. She was very clubby like. Does that make sense? So you could be a club girl and have fun with your girlfriends, and then you could be like that clubby girl. She was that clubby girl.
Okay. Why do you think that Jan turned on Melissa?
I don't know the story. I don't know the story. I don't know the whole thing.
She had like gone to dinner for Melissa. She had told us like back in the day that the reason I went to dinner with her is because production said, Melissa, you need to bring more friends on the show. You need to like have like your own friends. So and I guess, I don't think production liked Melissa's sisters. So Melissa goes and she records with Jan, and you could tell when it was when Melissa was bringing a book out. Putting a book out, and they were like kind of rolling their eyes about it. And then all of a sudden, like the next episode, Jan turns it around and says like, Melissa cheated on Joe Gorga with like this guy named Bulldog. Are you familiar with Bulldog?
I am, Brian.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I'm like Bulldog, Brian.
Yeah.
So that's what ended up happening. But I mean, could you see like Jan doing something like that? Or do you think production was behind that? Oh, you could see her doing that.
Yeah, I could see it being like a combination again. You know, people, it brings the ugliness out of people. Right. It really does. So don't put anything past anybody. No one's on there being a saint, for sure not. And Jan was probably promised a spot on the show if she goes and does that. So, I mean, we can only, again, it's an assumption. I don't want to, you know, character assassinate Jan, but I would say that it was definitely a combo. You know, the little carrot was dangled in front of her, and she took the opportunity, and that was that. You know, and she made a fool of herself too. Everyone makes a fool of themselves.
Yeah, you were on the show with Dina, which this was like Dina's comeback. What was your impression of Dina?
Very stale. She's stale, very stale to me. Like she was not a ray of light. Like she was very muted. And she was, to me, disingenuous with her spirituality but again, I don't want to pass judgment with her now at wherever she is now. I'm just talking about then. It's very hard to be zen and spiritual in that realm, in that environment. So I think maybe that's one of the reasons why she did leave the show, is because she couldn't. And so, you know, because it does make you disingenuous, right? Because you can't really be that way. So I saw someone who was definitely ugly within and was doing the whole housewives thing, and hurting me and hurting my family. Like, I don't know. She gunned it out for my husband. I have no idea why, but she was gunning it for my husband. And it just, like, right from the start, like, was saying negative things about him. So I didn't have a really nice opinion about her.
Well, I mean, okay, so your husband did get a lot of backlash. Does he regret anything? Or
no, he, as far as his behavior, he was standing right by me. He would not allow me to get hurt, and he was going to take the brunt of it as much as he could. And he knew what production was doing. And it's a very, very hard position. Actually, it's a horrifying position to know that when you walk into a situation, everyone around you is against you. Right. Production's doing their thing, cast is doing their things, and they're gunning for you. And I had a lump in my throat most of the time. I attribute my second bout of my relapse because of that stress. I couldn't take it. I could not handle it. It was awful. And Jim he knew that. He says, I never came home more miserable from every freaking scene than from that time. I'm telling you, I look at pictures of myself, even with going through cancer before Housewives. I had such a like a youthful, like very naive, very innocent way about me. And then I look at pictures afterwards and I could just tell it was just sucked away from that whole experience.
Wow, that's so sad.
Yeah.
And do you feel like it was, I mean, when you signed up, like, what did you think it was going to be? Like, did you really think it was going to be like no drama and like just us having fun and getting drunk together?
So good question. I thought it was going to be like, we're doing our scenes and then afterwards we're like, okay, that was pretty good.
Okay. Wow.
I was, like, all right, who's going to meet me at some, at the bar, whatever. Let's go clubbing. Like, I did not think it was like, oh wait, this is real. Like, they actually hate me. Like, why? They don't even know me.
Wow. And did production like have you say certain things? Obviously, like, you're in control of what you say at the end of the day, right?
Yeah.
But were there questions, like, were they trying to get you to be upset with one person? Like, how does the behind the scenes work?
Well, it's just conversations and, random conversations you'll have with the production team or the producer who does the interviews. They ask leading questions. If they don't like what you say, they'll re-ask the question in a certain way. And if they don't like it, they'll just edit it. Editing is magical. Like, you could do anything in editing. There was times where I was driving. In fact, the whole reason for the fight with the twins is I was driving. I was driving with Melissa. I said Bobby had an affair, which was true, and he'll talk about all the time. They spliced it and edited it to say I said that about the twins, and then that's what they took to justify the fight.
Wow.
So, they can do a lot, and that's one of the reasons why I want to be on it too, because my children, I would never want my children in that environment. Honestly, that's really it's not fair for children to be growing up in that world.
Wow. Yeah, of course. Did production ever ask you, because this has happened a few times when we've interviewed housewives, but did they ask you or your husband to go after Teresa from the beginning?
No, absolutely not. In fact, wait a minute. Yes. Okay. I'm remembering. Yes. There was a scene where he did not go bowling. He didn't want to go bowling. And I forget the reason why, but he had to work the next day. He was the only one that had to get up early and go to work, like an actual job, right?
Yeah.
But production tried to make a scene that he wasn't going because he didn't want to be around the Giudices because of the financial, their criminal shenanigans. And then Bobby took that and brought it in. So I don't know if production told Bobby to say that, but Bobby's the one that brought it to the next scene where they were actually at the bowling. And then that was the rift between the guys and Jim. But Jim actually never said that. The only thing he ever said, and this was an actual fact, he was working with that whole group in Newark that was prosecuting her for a case that he was working on with Bank of America. It was a big case that actually settled right after Housewives. So it was during Housewives. So it was very, very precarious. You know, you had to really make sure what you said, what you did was always watched. And he said to production, it's not that I have any opinion on this. I just don't want to be in a situation where I'm compromising my case or I'm compromising their case. Right. That's what he said. But they took it, flipped it around, and made it seem like this was like a personal thing. But he didn't give a crap. He was like, whatever.
Yeah. Was Bobby getting paid?
No.
So he was just like doing this and involving himself in drama for what?
For his 5 minutes for I don't know.
Yeah.
I guess he banked on the fact that the twins were going to come back. He was still going to date Nicole, that would be 2 seasons for him. Because he started to see that we were the ones that were being picked on, I guess, you know, ostracized. So we weren't the winners. Okay. We weren't the winners to align themselves with. He thought that the twins were, because the twins were getting close with Teresa, and that's a sure thing in, and also Melissa, and that's a sure thing in. So I was not a sure thing in.
Right. So you don't talk to anyone? Like, you didn't leave on good terms with anyone?
No.
Wow. What was your thoughts on Andy Cohen? Was he nice to you?
As my kids would say, and I don't even really know what this exactly stands for, he's like an NPC. He's not real. He's like, I think he just wants to humiliate women. I think he just wants to get paid, and he'll do anything to get paid.
Wow. Do you watch now?
No.
Oh,
I got far better things to do with my time than watch that insanity. I don't want to watch women 46-year-old, 50-plus-year-old women screaming at each other with no interpersonal connections and ability to work things out. I just don't do that. No.
And it probably brings back bad memories too.
Yeah.
I guess, but it's more that I just think it's all just foolish. It's very foolish.
But you know that, like, Bravo's also asking them to be like this, or maybe not asking them, but they're pushing this. Like, they're trying to create a show here. So that's why, you know, there is this like yelling and commotion around it.
Sure, of course, but everyone has the power of free will and can decide if that's going to be okay for them to live their lives like that. Because at what point is that acting, and then or your real life? Right. At what point? What's that dividing factor? What's that dividing line? You know, you're willing to accept that type of energy into your world, whether it's real or not, or being asked of you or anything. You're willingly bringing that into your environment and into your heart and soul. You know, so I don't want that, and I do feel that negative energy even through the screen watching it, and I will not do that.
Right. Absolutely. Okay, so I have one last question.
Sure.
Would you ever go back on the show?
No.
No, and it sounds like you won't, because
that
it's like it's such a negative experience. Would you have, like, if you know, like, looking back, would you have done it, or do you regret going on the show?
Well, I did a lot of soul searching on that show, and I definitely shed a lot of negative aspects of myself from that show. So in a sense, my journey is my journey, and I can't regret. I just, you know, take it for what it is and learn from it and become a better person from it. So no, I don't regret it, to answer your question, but no, I would not do it again unless there was like some sort of, it would have to be completely different, like literally completely different, where, you know, we're doing things, but we're doing things almost in an acting scene. Yeah. You know, and everyone knew that it was acting scene, almost like a soap opera. If it was a soap opera and I was doing all this drama work and, you know, my Stella Adler would come out, sure, why not? But this is like, no, I don't want I love my privacy right now. Oh my gosh. I do not want any of my, like, people ask me about my personal life. I'm like, it's none of your damn business. Yeah. Not at all.
I got that. Well, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for taking the time and actually
we appreciate you telling us.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you for having me. Yeah, it was fun.
We just appreciate your perspective on it. So we thank you so much, and we wish you all the best.
Thank you so much.
Thank
And
you
obviously,
so much.
and side note, you could even take this out though. Just try to push Box Genie. If anyone asks what I'm doing now, I have an app called Box Genie. It does door to door. Yes, it's amazing. We just launched this in the spring. It's for gig drivers. So you can download it as a driver. It would be Box Genie Driver or Box Genie, the actual customer app. It does door-to-door deliveries, returns. So if you have like all those returns piling up in your house, it does returns for you to UPS, FedEx. And then also we take your empty boxes that are annoying, that pile up sometimes. We take all of your empty boxes.
Wait, the returns of the boxes is so genius.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, that's from experience. That's from my husband going, I can't take these boxes anymore.
I love that. And so many people hate returning things. So that is genius. So it's called Box Genie, you said?
Spelled like I Dream of Genie, like JEANNIE.
Okay.
So Box Genie.
Yes.
Yeah, we'll post it on our podcast too.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, guys.
Yeah,
That's awesome. All right, guys. Many blessings. Thank you so much. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay, bye.